back with History of the World. I like to do the story so far. The problem is the story kind of disappears. It gets overwritten. It's so malleable. It's not like there's single empires growing or whatever, or really lasting on the map the way they do in, say, Britannia, which I consider kind of a similar type of game. I'm guessing Seven Ages had the same problem. I don't really remember too much about that. I know that it's more of a pain in the ass, although more historically believable. But I gotta say, it's the overwriting that's really the problem. So what I can kind of go over is where we are point-wise. Purple was in a strong lead at the beginning of the last turn, but they kind of got smashed down. They've got like one possession down here, and that's it. After having had the Chola and scored some points, Blue has almost caught up with them. They were the Holy Roman Empire. They've had a series of good things. They were in the lead at one point, and Purple overtook them and has gathered 3 of these chits to Blue's 1. And wow. Blue should have 1, shouldn't they? Oh, there it is. No one else has ever been in the lead, so they don't pick those up. And those are a big bonus to maintaining your lead. But the catch-up mechanisms conflict with these. So it's kind of a nice balance between, do you want to be in the lead at any particular time, or do you want to kind of sandbag and hold good cards as long as you possibly can. Blue is doing quite well with a pretty decent board presence, to be honest. They gathered a lot of points this time, and they went with the Holy Roman Empire, which was not very late, but they did not pay too much of a price for it. Then behind that we have kind of a pack, the kind of regular greenish color spread out with some good holdings. The olive spread out with some good holdings. White is these. They went last with the Mongols and did what this game is so notorious for. Just swept through a bunch of different areas, not really conquering anything. Just, burning a swath through stuff. And, later on, hopefully they have one of these little areas that other people have, these little outposts that are there. Now, those little outposts would be really cool if they felt more like the Basques or something, but they don't. Yes, they're immobile, they're not expanding or anything. There's nothing in the game that revitalizes older empires or lets them restart or something along those lines. Instead, they simply just sit there and collect points over the course of the game. The era is switching. I have not pulled these off yet. We're going into era 6. North America does not get as valuable as South America. That's fitting. Europe starts getting more valuable. It's going to get even bigger. Middle East becomes less valuable. China and India, they're constantly at a good value. And Australia doesn't ever become valuable until the very end. We have a big spacing between, first and last place, but not as big as it could be. So I'm not, I'm not feeling like yellow has no chance, right? But these, say they're 3 points each. That's a big boost. Anyway, that's the viewpoint that I have right now. I can't give you much of a narrative as to, the sweeps of empires going back and forth or anything. That just doesn't occur in the game. It doesn't solidify in my mind because it is just so there's so much of an overwriting of whatever was on the board before. There is no stability or anything here. It's just a sweep of nations going by. And honestly, you know, I kind of extolled Vinci at one point. I find it more fun to play in some ways. But it's just as much of an abstract or whatever. It's not like the story sticks there either. And I don't think it does in Seven Ages. It does in the more Britannia type games because you have the rise of an empire or a kingdom or whatever, and it stays on the board and continues to operate. And you know, you slowly see it decline and whatnot, as opposed to this where it's really just, hey, where's my color? What can I get? You know, who's on my side because I got them earlier? I don't know. Spent almost the entire day snoozing in and out and wandering in the dreamlands quite a bit. But although it's getting close to time for my sunset walk, I wanted to come up here and at least deal out the epic cards. So our last place player is yellow down here, and they draw themselves the Mughals. The Mughals are pretty good. They come very late in the game though. Well, very late in the game turn. That may or may not be a bad thing. I'm probably not going to get dislodged entirely from what little I have. They're not a terrible choice. Yes, I could get the Ottomans, who are better. The Mughals show up someplace where I'm not. I think I'm going to keep them. I'm going to look at my cards. Do I want to hold weaponry and a leader for the next segment? Maybe. I'll keep the Mughals. Next player is red. Red gets the Ottoman Turks. This is a very powerful group. Relatively early. Ming is going to show up. That's not too big a problem for me. Timurids show up over here. That's a problem. But the Ottomans show up in a nice place. I think I'm going to keep them as well. I have a jihad, which they might use, and a reallocation, which, I don't know, maybe, you know. How many boats do the Ottomans have? They're kind of a good choice for it. Red Sea, Black Sea, and East Med. That's 3 coins I could get. Yeah, I could get rid of all my coins, but or my boats by doing that. But you know, might be the best move. Now we're over here, the former Mongols, the Incas, Aztecs. All right, these are a weird group. They have almost nothing. They have 2 in each in North and South America. They produce almost no control power, but they could be decent points, especially as the North America becomes valuable. However, they're really shit. They don't show up all that late, but everything that shows up later is better than them. The real question is, who do I give these to? Purple or blue? Blue has a lot of pieces on the board, so I'm going to give it to purple because these are relatively early. There are no other really bad choices out there. That brings it to the olive up there. Spain. Spain is good. Olive doesn't have a hell of a lot of pieces on the board. Spain is a late going group. Probably not going to use the reallocation because they need their naval power. But we'll take that. The green player gets the Timurids. The Timurids go early. If green has nice possessions, to be honest. And with the Incas, Aztecs coming up, this is useful. Do I want them or do I not? I don't know what else is out there. The Timurids show up here. that would allow me into India? I'm tempted. They don't have any boats. I'm going to take them on an odd die roll. They're not a great group, but people have been taking their own cards. But then again, there are a lot of good pieces out there. Now I'm going to hand it off. The Timurids aren't bad. Purple's already got their card, right? I don't want to give this to blue. Blue's got a good presence all over the place. Which means my only option is these guys. Blue. Blue gets to pick and hold their own card. They get the Ming. It doesn't get better than that. I don't have a presence in China, and I have a presence everywhere else on the board, and that means our last one will go as Portugal to the green, which is relatively late. I might have been better off with the Timurids. I don't know. Portugal has a lot of capability to inject themselves places, but I'm in a lot of places, most especially down here, which might well get wiped out. Blue had the Ming. They're going to be going first. That was again, a high-ranking player Blue seems to get this a lot. Got to pick their own card and hold it if they wanted it. And they weren't forced into it. Now, they were going to get one of two cards, but all right. Actually, both the cards were good. So, but the Ming is probably the best thing for blue that they could have gotten with the possessions on the board that they have. That is really sweet. All right, I'm going to go hunt my sunset. Back up here way after my sunset walk, which was okay. Not as impressive. Last couple days have been nice. I don't think I said anything. I don't know. I know I did these, but that was before the walk. But on my walk, I discovered a meal. Sort of a weird rice salad thing. Somebody had eaten part of it and threw the rest away, and it was all in a container and in good shape. So that's kind of cool. All right. So I am down here. This is the second to last of the periods. The Ming Dynasty. And I got a number of issues. Do I want to use my naval power here? Probably not, because in the final period, there are a lot of almost all the nations. I think all of them actually have a navy, but they may not want to use it. Ming has a navy, but I don't think it's all that impressive. I have a weaponry and a leader. Again, I can't use all three cards next time, so I'm probably going to have to use probably the weaponry for a +1. The leader gives 3 dice. Well, both are actually kind of good. I don't know which I like better. Go with the leader. Now, what I got to decide is what the hell I'm doing. The leader gives me 3 dice, yeah. No, this is not an easy landing. That's a unit. Yeah, I'm probably going to, well, I want to gain China. And then the question is how much further south I can get. Eating up a bunch of Mongol territory, but not all of it. And have gotten domination in China. Nothing here yet. I'd have to go another space, which is painful. I have 2 more shots, and I could conceivably get domination in India, which is worth more than this. So I think I'll try to do that. Succeed. Again, completely ridiculous stuff, right? I capture this, and then I come sweeping down through all kind of random shit you know, all kind of different cultures and everything. It's just, the game just doesn't make sense. I do have a couple of doinkers, so I get that. And then we do the count. And let's see. We still have domination here. So 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11. 12. 18. 19, 20. 26. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 points, which is pretty good. Might be enough to get me one of these things. Maybe. Timurid's over here. I'm going to use the Expert Troops Mountains. That'll get me across there. I have Elite Troops, Allies, and Reallocation. One would think I'd want to play one of these cards, but you know, Reallocation is absolutely fucking useless for this power. And probably is for the next power. Allies, yeah, I'd rather save things for that last play. The only question is, would Allies be worth it to try to get another coin? I don't have a lot of presence on the board. I don't think I'm going to beat blue this turn, so I'm going to hold it for the last turn. I lied. I do have a lot of presence. Ooh, boy, do I have a lot of presence. I thought I was purple. I thought I was the second player. I'm still not going to beat blue. Yeah, I think I'll hold it. It'll give me a better choice next turn if I fall behind, you know, if I don't gain as much as I might otherwise. I still want to gain as much as I can, but I don't want to play a card that will be useful on another turn, especially with the number of naval powers that come in the 7th period that can just like grab a space and say, okay, you know, so the coins could be useful for that. Of course, I have to lose units first. It's hard. I have a lot of ways I can go, but none of them really are easy for me. So here, I'm not blocked, but wasting a piece on my own piece is kind of painful. So I don't know about that. Coming down into here, I can take one space, but that only gets me to 3. That's the same as this pale green has. Yes, I can take the steppes. I can take Eurasia pretty easily, but that's not very appealing. I think I go into China, and I can get up to 4 there, I guess. I just don't know. At some point or another, I really probably have to just plow through my own units. Another option, there's Northern Europe. I want to get China. Northern Europe could be very interesting, though. If I take this, that gives me the dominance already. So, I don't know. With the Baltic seaboard, now if I go in there and I go into here, it gives me another doinker. It gives me dominance in Northern Europe. It looks like a good combination. 5 points. I'm the biggest here, so that's 2. Okay. 3, 4, 5. This is still worthwhile. 11. 12, 13. 14, 15. 16, 17, 18. 19, 20. 26. And now we hunt. 27, 28. Oh, I have a doinker. 28, 29. Didn't grab that. Okay. 29, 30, 31, 32. Should be 33 because I took 2 doinkers. I say 32 or 33. Fuck. I gotta recount. I'm assuming it's 33. So that puts me to here. Probably not gonna have a shot. Nice combination for purple. They are going to play another card. I don't know which. It's probably, well, they're probably going to play a treachery, but it's kind of shitty because they don't have a great place to play it. The Incas Aztecs are kind of weird. They're 2 different capitals. One force shows up here and one shows up in the Mexican Valley. Now this is almost automatic to take. Like it's a normal combat. Here I have to combat in either direction. Here I've got the interesting choice of either going down here to attack green or attacking up here. But first I have to do the Safavids. They also have a capital. And they are in the Persian Salt Desert, the place that I think I mentioned earlier was like, oh, I don't know if I need that. Not a lot of points available to me. I might be able... I only have 2 more pieces coming from them, which is a lot. But what can I gain? I mean, I can gain a doinker. If I go in this direction, I could attack here and then here and successfully get the dominance there. That's worth 3 points. So that's what I'm going to go for. But if I fail on that first roll, I think I just go over to Zagros. Higher risk solution pays off. So that's pretty sweet. As we beat back blue in India. And now I got these fuckers. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to play the treachery. I just have to decide where I want to use it. Particular reason for me to hurt green here and take their 2 points away. I get a point for it though. But there is a hell of a reason for me to take California, well, the Oregon coast, whatever. So that's where I'm going to treachery. And that may actually last me quite some time. And then I got one last attack here. I get dominance if I win. Which is also, whoa, that's actually worth more. Which one do I want to attack? Which one do I want to treachery? Which one do I want to attack? Green is doing better than olive. I could kill this. That would be useful. People are pretty much going to be able to reach anywhere on the next period, so why don't we go for the mountain attack here for dominance. And that'll be my treachery. And then my other attack will be against the Oregon coast. Hey, I win both of them. That's cool. And now I get my points, which are 2, 6. Doing quite well on the score, but not that well down here. 2, 6, 7, 8, 14, and that's it. 1516. I get a doinker. I give the doinker to the other guy who got it. I'll put it over here. I was at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, he should have a fort too. How about that? Okay. I think somebody may have missed a doinker. Maybe not. I was going to say, if it was, it would have been this guy. And I played a doinker in the Timurids. Who else did I do before them? The Ming got theirs. Yeah, I put them on the board. I know I scored it, but I think I was thinking I forgot to put it down. Okay, that means the Ottomans are next. They're here. We're going to break for a bit. Pipes running down. Board's getting cluttered. That's a big nation. So the Ottomans are a big set, so I'm going to play a jihad with them. I'm also going to play the reallocation to get myself 3 coins. It's about as good as you can do with that. It is giving up some flexibility. Red Sea, I may not even make it down there. Eastern Med, that could be useful, but here's the thing. I don't know, maybe I want that one. Because I could get control in Africa, which is worth a couple of points. But I'm just looking at being able to make attacks, across straits or mountains where applicable or whatever, is probably more valuable to me. Africa is not that important an area right now. I do have the possibility. See, the only reason I would want that is to go into here or here. I'm not sure I'm big enough to bust my way in there. Whereas an advance into Europe sounds kind of appealing. And why am I doing that? Because moving through this and busting my city seems like a really dumb idea. But on the other hand, I am not far from dominating both of these. I'm going to keep this one boat. I think that might actually do me some good. I'm not positive. I hate the choice. But I've seen Jihad before. That gives me 3 dice plus winning ties. But if I lose a battle, I lose a die. And then if I lose another battle, I lose the tiebreaker. And we're going to try a hard battle to begin with. Hey, I lost the first battle. I lost the second battle here, so the card is gone. And I can get rid of this one too, because my coins are gone. We're grabbing Northern Europe. And we have a dominance there now. Anything bigger is just ridiculous to go 4-point-wise. We managed to insert ourselves into Palestine rather easily. And that is kind of important because we got points there, and well, we're at 3 here, which means we just need 1 more space. Things that I never liked about the versions of the game that I'm aware of is that the pieces are generic. I would much rather have had, and obviously, is that possible? I'm thinking I would much rather have pieces not worrying about their color, a la Hispania or whatever, that had the exact amount of pieces you need for each of the groups. That actually could have been less pieces and ones that appear to be the right empire that they are. just some way of determining so that, you know, because here I am, I just attacked something. I attacked a green guy with an axe. What the hell is that? Well, I got to go look over here to get this imagery. Okay, those were Arabs, I guess. You know, it's just sort of, they're so generic. They all look the same. They just look like blobs of color to me for the most part, except for the horsemen. And then when I look more carefully, I don't even necessarily get the right era. If they did it with counters on a per nationality basis, maybe with different, lots of different colors, who knows, who cares? And then imagery and the name of the country, I would be a lot happier. And that would actually fit the 7 players without having to do anything too complicated. It would be more pieces. So I think it would still be less pieces total. Again, I would rather counters than these plastic things but I think it would be less pieces total because there's so many empires that are small. So like in the era of the Romans, everybody's got to have 20 pieces. The difference is, of course, there would be all 7 factions represented for it. But that would just be a better design from my point of view, in terms of being able to picture what's going on. And that would add to my narrative. If I could see what these are and who they are. Now, I would still rather it also stuck to the history, to some extent. Like that it favored the history rather than this weird sort of point collection. And again, I don't remember much about 7 Ages. I remember that it was a pain in the ass to play, so it probably wasn't too much better on that narrative. I could peek at the box. I think I only played once. It does not have nationalities. It has the color types, but it has different types of units for each power that's in play, which is an interesting distinction as well. I don't really remember how the scoring even worked. There were geographical limits and bonuses that applied per empire. So yeah, more like a Britannia type game. It did try to keep to the history a little bit better. Still not what I favor for what's going on in terms of getting the narrative view, which would have gotten in my way. Now I don't know what to do with my last 3 pieces. I've gotten this. I'm not here. I would have to take 2 more spaces, including a hard-to-get space. It is a more valuable place. Here, I would have to get 2 more spaces for less. That's not worth going for. Here, what would I need? I am at 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at my max already there. This is, my geographical boundaries are here, so I'm not going to make it into like India or China at all. So it looks to me like trying to dominate Southern Europe is my move. They're fine, but we manage it. I think 7 Ages, you keep running your empires too. They don't just collapse. Okay, let's look at my points. Hey, Africa's worth something. South Africa, Sub-Saharan, 2 points. 6 points. 12 points. 18 points. 22 points. 23. 26. That's pretty good so far. 26. 27. Oh, Doinkrich. I'm always forgetting that. I think I've got 1 pair here and there. I was at 27, but I don't know where I was. All right, let's start over. 2, 6, I hate counting. 12, 18, 22, 23, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34 points. That gets me to 120, which again, you know, I'm in with the pack at least. Blue is running away at this point, right? Purple has played its card. Blue has played its card. All of the people in the lead there have played. So there's that. And then we are now on who's after the Ottomans? Portugal. There it is. It's complicated. I've got an astronomy, which is probably useless for the rest of the game. It lets me put another sea area. Could be useful in conjunction with a reallocation, maybe. But I got to play the Black Death. Like, I can get a coin off of that pair. Yay, a whole coin! I probably want to use my navies. They're going to put me in the Atlantic, Indian, and West Pacific. So, everything here, and everything here. I basically have navies everywhere. If there's somewhere I don't want to go, maybe I spend the coin on it. I don't know. I mean, the navigation is almost certainly not going to do me any good here. Mantua gets the places it's likely to want. The other nations all have ocean navigation. So, I don't know. I'm likely to want it. But anyway, I get to do Black Death. I choose 2 areas. Every army in every land in those areas has to roll a die. On a 1, it's eliminated, along with any fort. The fort only goes away if all the troops are destroyed. That I remember from the original. We're going to go for the big points. We're coming out of Portugal. Let us hit Northern and Southern Europe. We killed 1 whole person. Now, this isn't destroyed, but it's destroyed if anybody moves into it by the rules I'm playing with. Again, that may be up for debate. Let me do Northern. We'll clear it out of that. Now, this wasn't a specific epic. I kind of want to play on somebody, but it's not a kingdom. It's not important for me to look up. It had very little effect. It really did. So now I show up in Western Iberia and kill off these Roman-looking guys, who are indeed Romans, and start my game. Now, you know, a massive number of hits here could really have put things in a much better shape for my advance. Our initials, we haven't landed in Northern Europe yet. We have to do that. We went and took Brazil. Easy, cheap. I really shouldn't have forgotten about Northern Europe. Nothing down here, nothing in Africa, nothing in North America yet. We already have a piece in North America, so that's kind of uninteresting. Went into Ceylon, makes sense, cool. Australia is not worth anything right now. It will be worth something next time. It would be a place to go if I need places to go. But one of the more interesting ones I did was I landed here on the Manchurian plain and then to Korea. That means I have a doinker. So I want to get another doinker. Probably Africa is where I get it from, but I might be able to get dominance in North Europe with my Portuguese. Is that better or worse than Southern Europe? See, here's the thing. Northern Europe, they're the same value right now. Next phase, Northern Europe becomes more valuable. But there are lots of nations that show up in Northern Europe. In particular, I mean, I want to land there. Germany shows up, I don't know where. Doesn't tell me. Yeah, Baltic seaboard. That'll be over here. So the Lower Rhine is probably safe. Nothing's showing up there. Ireland is open, so I can land on those two. And that would mean that I could expand, and I would only need one more. Unfortunately, I only have 3 pieces, which makes it kind of iffy in terms of points I can get. I mean, I have access up to like the Black Sea and everything. So I could like land a guy in the Balkans, and that would put me very close to getting all of Southern Europe. Oh, this is complex. Because, so I could gain 3 points with 2 pieces and a lucky shot here. So I don't know, not a real lucky shot. I just have to move into here and I could gain that extra point there and a boinker. Where do I have boinkers? Did I grab any? I grabbed Korea. Okay. For this, for the boinkerage, then I would land in the Balkans if I got it, but I did not win. Which means I'm down to 2 pieces. Ireland seems like a good place for the Portuguese to live. And then the next one is, hey, maybe I take a doinker, I take a doinker where I get, and I think the Congo is a better place than Southern Africa because the Indian Ocean doesn't go to the Congo, even though it's not going to make a damn bit of difference. I think anybody who gets to the Indian Ocean gets to the Atlantic, so. But, ooh, this can be Southern Africa has no protection from land, if that's an issue. Okay. So I get my doinkerage, and we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know, did I count this? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm everywhere. 23, 24 plus. Okay, 26. 27, 28, 29. 30, 31 points. 126. Put him up there. Guess I can't fit them both in there. And that is... Yeah. Okay, after Portugal, we hit Spain. How about that? It is the Thai Kingdom. Place 1 army and a city in the Malaysian Peninsula. Yep. And somebody recent just died there. I don't know who Blue is. The Ming. The Ming were down there. Yeah. The Ming were in India too. Because they're not interested in China and solidifying. Yeah. And this is like their 4th little kingdom with no big things. But now I have a couple of other cards, and these are interesting. Siegecraft, bonus in attacking. Leader, bonus in combat. These are different kinds of combat leaders. It's a hard call with those. I got the reallocation though instead. I could leave myself with 2 military capabilities. That would maybe suck if I got like the Netherlands. So I don't know. Playing the reallocation, if I wasn't going to go everywhere. Now right now I have, again, the Atlantic, Indian, and Western Pacific. I have everything. Oh wait, there's an Eastern Pacific too. Hold on. Maybe I have that instead. Nope, I have West Pacific. Okay. That's a big deal because it means I can't hit this coast. I thought it was all Pacific. I don't know. Is there somewhere I'm not terribly interested in going? So like, I don't really need to get in here, but I may want to get in over here. And I may want to try to squeeze into China, but that's going to be hard. So the Western Pacific I might be willing to give up for a coin. But then that would leave the 2 leadership things. So then the question becomes, do I want leader or do I want siegecraft? And this is hard because siegecraft you probably wanted to use earlier in the game, back when you don't have the capability to land everywhere. And I don't know which I want. 3 dice as leader is really potent. Siegecraft, I am going to be next to a city, but that's relatively easy to take. I think I'll end up going with the leader. And we show up, what, in the Pyrenees? Yeah. Right on top of our own Romans, which were probably Carthaginians. No, they were Celts. How about that? Carthaginians are the era earlier. So we start here. And it's time to figure. Nothing here unless I kill one of these. Basically. I mean, I could kill Brazil if I so desired. Purple is doing well, but so is green. So I don't know. And this is more valuable than North America, so I kind of don't want to go to North America next. I've got to think about Europe. I've got so many choices in mind here. There are interesting places that I'm definitely not in. India and China, which are worth being in. Or Northern Europe for too long until I only had 1 piece. I have a doinker here. I picked up a doinker here in China. So I get my thing. I managed to get control here. I grabbed control here, or not control, dominance, whatever the fuck it is. I edged my way into India and China. Either of those I could have, tried to get I could have taken shots at dominance for, but it didn't seem really worth it. So, 2, 6. I did not get in here. 6, 6 more, 12, 15, not up there, 16, 17, 20, 22, 25, and nothing up there, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, a little bonus this turn, 37, 38, pretty good points, 129, it'll be up here. And as long as yellow gets one, we'll just take those all away. And that is who we are on now. Sometimes it would be helpful Like if I had a lot of room of a sidebar or something, keeping, you know, Spain with the leader attached and everything, just kind of see what happens. But again, I can't tell. Where's Spain? What are they? You know, is this Spain? No, that's not Spain. This is, you know. But we landed, consolidated in South America, grabbed North America. We could have grabbed Europe, but again, Europe is likely to fall. So I focused more on what I was more likely to keep, but maybe I would keep a little bit of Europe if I went for all, you know, for dominance there. I don't know. All right, we're on the last one. This is going to be the Big Bad Mughals at 10. These are a lot easier to see than others. Yellow is very easy to see. Red is very easy to see. The blues, the greens, the purple. Well, the purple-red kind of have a clash. The two greens I have trouble with. The blues I have trouble with anything dark. Same with the purples. The purple-red kind of combine and look the same. Yellow is probably the easiest to see, other than these guys. But those guys are hard to pull out of the bag. Like, the first set is hard. The second set is easy because I have lots of numbers already pulled. For cards, well, Zimbabwe I can't play. So I'm left with a leader or weaponry and astronomy. I don't know if I'm going to play astronomy or not. Leader is better than weaponry. I may need combat more here, though. Well, I don't know. They're both kind of good. +1 or 3 dice. Both kind of nice. I am going to be starting in the Ganges Valley up here. Might as well just put it there. Astronomy could give me another boat. Chances are very high that I do not need a boat with anyone. Manchu Dynasty has everything covered. Everyone else has oceans. So I'm going to play astronomy, I guess. Whoa. Yeah, I'm going to play astronomy. That'll give me... I can take the Bay of Bengal. The only other sea I'm likely to have any chance of using is South China, so I'll put it there. I doubt I'll use it, but the next player doesn't need it at all. And then it comes to leader versus weaponry. I don't have any presence anywhere down here, so I'm going to be probably trying to get dominance here and then moving up into China with weaponry. I have a tough position. I've got a fair amount of counters left. I've swept through here, I think without loss. And I think I'm going to go into the Mekong. I'm going to face the terrain there. It's worth an extra point. It takes a blue piece out of that area. It's not worth 2 points, though. I would have to take another space. But it gets me into China more easily. And yeah, I'm not going to use boats. Just march by land. For that plan, and what's kind of interesting is this is actually kind of valuable. I only have 2 pieces left. I'm not going to get to dominate China with 2 pieces. Probably. I could launch an attack here. That would get me, I'm dominating this. That would get me here. I would get, and then, yeah, 2 pieces could get me a dominance of China, actually, because then I'd have 3 pieces there. I've already expended going into here. This is not worth as much, but another attack would get me a dominance. It would also get me my second Doinker. And then crossing the mountains here would get me points here, which is almost as good. So I'm tempted to do this. And it didn't work. I can either get 2 points here. I'm pretty far behind. I'm going to go for this and count on my +1 weaponry. It didn't work the other place, but Oh, but then I don't get my doinkers. Ooh. I mean, not that doinkers are a big deal, but I'm looking at 2 3 points here. I'm looking at 2 3 points here. I want the doinker. Ah! What did I just do? I want the doinker. Because I want to get the boink on my doink. All right. And that puts that here. Get rid of these. Yes, leaders count as being pretty good. If you play them with the right empire, they're almost as good as a minor empire. My points, well, I wasn't able to spread all over the place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 14, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24. Crete has lasted all game now. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 29 points. It's not horrible. 112. We can get rid of these. And that's the end of a turn. Blue gets the bonus. So blue has 2 bonuses, purple has 3. That third bonus probably isn't good enough. Like a one bonus chip probably isn't enough to make this up. So right now blue is way in the lead of other people, I think. Not only do they have this stretch, but they have like another 6 points or so on average. I think they range from 1 to 6. So, but I'm not positive of that. I'm not going to look it up. At the end of the game, sometimes it's fun to look for, are there any Arrow 1 things still kicking around that are real? You know, like these guys are Arrow 1, but they're not real. This guy, I don't think he's real. I think he was a revolt or something. I don't think there are. And then, you know, you start looking, okay, what about spearmen? Spearmen are particularly interesting because very little is going to put spearmen on the map. And I don't see any of them kicking around. These are not spearmen. They've got like a sword and a gun. Era 3 is what? That's the Romans? We had a Roman kicking around. These guys are likely Romans here, still kicking around. These guys are from that era, so this is green. That's the Seongnu. Keep down from here. I think that's about it in terms of the oldest people still on the board. I find that kind of an interesting thing. Anyway, I'm not going to assign the last set of nations yet. I'm going to pause before I do that. I kind of want to eat. Here I am in the last period, and I just realized, wow, I really do need to finish up the rolls of the next thing, but also start sorting counters. Unlike something like this, I expect it's going to take a little bit of time. This wasn't trivial because the box shook at various times in my moves and whatnot, and ended up, you know, all jumbled together. So I did have to sort everything, but there's not a ridiculous amount of pieces. They take up a lot of space. All right, yellow is our number 1. Oh. Let's see what he gets. He gets Germany. Now, the weird thing here is everything's pretty much the same. Germany sucks because it goes last. Most of these countries are really about the same, and you're going to score points off of each one. You know, you score at the end of your turn. So Germany's a pretty bad choice. Yellow does not want Germany. And maybe the Netherlands is worse, but it goes so much earlier, and I have such a presence on the board that I want to find somebody that I can screw with this. And blue is in the lead. Is Germany the worst thing I can give? I don't know, maybe the US is worse. Oh, I had to pull these off. See, North America is not as valuable as Europe, which is good because almost nobody is in North America. Am I willing to give them the US? The next choice would be kind of harder. There's sort of this grayish green. They're doing okay. Purple is probably in next place, though. They're doing okay. I'm going to give this to blue. I just think it screws them over the most. And that means we go to red. Red picks the US. Well, if Germany's not the worst, the US probably is. And I mean, the only real question here is the Netherlands, with its very, very weak position. But we're going to give purple the US. And that means we go over to this white. Britain. This is perhaps the best. It is certainly the strongest power in the game of this period. I am pretty far down. I look at my cards. Oh, look, I have an extra card because I got a reallocation. How about that? I'll take that. I have a combat card, right? I don't know if it matters. I have elite troops. Yeah, sure. We go here. Okay. Purple had the Incas, Aztecs. They're in this position. Even though they have those discs, they get the next choice because green had a larger population. Of course, I don't get to take anything. I get the Russia. Russia is an awesome choice because they go very, very early. I would like to give this to someone who is not doing particularly well on the board, probably. But it's not bad. You know, like I could give it to red. Red might get a lot off Russia. I don't like that idea. Giving it to yellow doesn't sound bad to me. That was purple. Green gets their draw. They get the Manchu. The Manchu is the second place power. I do have pieces here for the Manchu. How do I feel? One person has taken their own card. The Manchu goes second. I have a lot of pieces in a lot of places. I think it's worth taking the Manchu. I was considering rolling a die for that. Olive. And now olive and red are getting the next two. The Netherlands. The Netherlands is the absolute weakest. Olive does not have a lot of board presence. Even though this may be very good for Britain going this early, or for red, sorry, I think they're British. Just like the blue, I'm sorry, just like the red were the Romans, they should be the Brits too. Blue should be the French. Well, speaking of France, that's what this has to be. somebody gets to look at it, Blue gets to look at it, and then hand it off. And now we look for whoever got Russia. Well, we have Zimbabwe. Yellow, right? We get a kingdom and a city, not fort. I thought it said fort. It says and fort for the what gets destroyed. Running low on cities. In where? In East Africa. Should have known. Should have taken Madagascar. Oopsie. I can never remember the kingdom here. Now, there are 7 times 7, 49 different powers in the game, which is larger than in Britannia. I can almost always remember who goes where in Britannia, but here it's important which actual location. Okay, so there's the kingdom. Hey, we got Mali and Zimbabwe. What about that? Got our other one there. That makes things kind of interesting. Gives us dominance, so like we don't have to waste a piece there. Russia itself has 2 boats. I do have a leader. Theirs are ones that you might want to trade away. Oops. Boats here. So I am putting it in the Sea of Japan and in the Black Sea, but not the Baltic or North. Interesting. I guess there is no Baltic, but I kind of feel Russia would be. And then we show up here and we figure out what we want to do. Talk a little bit about some of the changes. North Europe is now 4-point base. The North America is only a 3-point base. Down here is a 2-point base, but that's the same as Southern Europe, Africa, South America, Australia. Here, the only thing that's of real interest, and it keeps its score for so much of the game, is the India-China. They're my favorite places because of that. Like early in the game, getting established there, you can score for, a long time off of like just one piece just sitting there. Like these guys, they're from the Roman era. Getting dominance in Eurasia is very easy. Question is, what do I go from there? Looks to me like into Europe and into China. Are these actually really ancient? They might be. Yeah, these are still Scythians here. I did not notice them. But anyway, just to show you the silliness, and that's fine. I don't mind old empires lasting. That feels more appropriate to me than so much of the game that's like, things like the Franks getting overrun by the Holy Roman Empire. That just feels weird. Like, they're sort of the same. Replacement is what should be happening, or revitalization or something like that. But just to show the silliness, we just had the Russians march into the Baltic Sea board. This goes past Denmark, where the Ottomans were, Then I make it into the Lower Rhine. Now comes kind of an interesting point. Look, I'm not going to get control, but would it be sensible for me to attack Blue, who's in the lead? I'm too far back. I'm not worried about it anyway. But some players might want to do that. But then you can think, Blue was given their card relatively early. I bet you they've got United States or Germany. Because nobody would give them the Netherlands, I think, point-wise. That's hard to be sure about. But I don't know. The Netherlands is pretty shitty, and Blue doesn't have a huge board presence, but they have some valuable stuff that's hard to cope with. Expansion was fine. We made it into here. We made it down. But now we're fighting across the Great Wall, which is a defensive bonus, and we've lost 3 or 4 pieces trying to kick into there. These are, I guess, Mongols. There are 6. Does that make sense? No, they got to be Timurids. They're Timurids. Yeah, these are the Mongols. Again, old empires don't go away, usually. Problem with this is, I've got 3 pieces left, not 2. I still have enough to take dominance of China. And that's worth more than Japan. Really unlucky. Both sides lost here. But the Yangtze is just empty now. And we weren't able to take it with our great leader. One problem I have with leaders, they die on triples. I have trouble noticing. I'm assuming that if I saw triples, I would recognize it, but I never see them. But they're really unlikely. You know, that's basically 6 out of 6 cubed. I mean, it's not impossible. Okay, let's count. 3. I didn't use my boats, obviously. 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, got dominance there. 7. Not here. 7, 8, 9. This would have been an interesting place to go for, actually. I could have, maybe, I don't know. 9. Got it here. 17. Got it here. 21. Nothing here. 21. I think I have dominance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not something I'm really worried about. 21, 27. Have it here. 27, 31. Up to China. 34, and then other points. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Oh, I got to think about doinkers. I'm at 38. I don't think I got any. Okay. 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 45 points. Hey, at least I'm putting a marker down that somebody's got to beat. If I'm in the lead, I get a disc, and that gives me some chance. I don't think that's going to happen. I think everybody's going to make some points. But yellow did have a lot of ground position, and they got to go first. I actually got an interesting chance to use the reallocation. First of all, I've got the astronomy. I'm going to put that somewhere and change that into a coin, because I will not be able to get down into the Bay of Bengal by any reasonable stretch. So that's 1 coin. But I have 2 fleets out here and here. The Manchu start here. Now, if there was an easy, hey, I could slip in somewhere, it might be worth taking navies. This is already mine, though. And beating up blue is kind of important, but it might be cheaper to walk through my own province and then attack across straits. So I'm going to take these 2 as coins as well, just in case. And then this, whoever the hell that is, Portugal, is taken out by the Manchus. And now, this is not a pleasant group to have. I have some points all over the place, not a huge amount. I do get some in there at least. The Portuguese got chased out of Southern Europe, though. So this is not going to go terribly well for them. Dominance of China seems valuable, but I connect only to my own piece. I want to leave that there. I mean, I could attack it for free and wipe it out. Wiped out a blue piece here, which is of some value. Got a combination here. I think we go after Japan. The other option, this is worth a couple of points. See, the problem is I already have 2 points in Japan, and those fights are going to be kind of tough, but I do have a lot of pieces. I don't think I can get dominance in Europe. I got them both wiped out in the Eastern Steppe. That's good enough. That gives me... No, it doesn't. Fuck. I was counting on dominance there. All right. Yellow's capital isn't going to score points for yellow again, but this capital will score points. So I may want to go there. Do I need boinkers? If I go into here, I need another boinker. Lost a piece, but I want to go for control of this, see what I get. It's me with 2 pieces. Now, fortifying at this point in the game is kind of iffy. It might be worth it, but for the most part, you're never going to score again, so you're not protecting anything for you. You're just trying to prevent somebody else from taking the points you're sitting on. I have 2 pieces left. I could just try to charge into India. I'm already in India, though, so that's not going to help me. I think my biggest gain is to gain dominance here. I don't want to plow into this because that will give me and yellow's not worth hitting. This might be worth hitting. This might be worth hitting. You know, just take points away from someone who's doing okay, but not great. It's not worth me picking on him. He's not going to score again, but me getting dominance there is worth a couple of points. Unfortunately, yeah, I can cross into there. Okay. And, you know, I mean, I don't know what I would have done otherwise. Like, could not have gotten dominance here. There's too many reds. And I'm not within reach of them, so yeah. I did get there. It took both my pieces. Let's take a look. 3, 4, 5. Oh, I did not get 2 doinkers. Oh, wait. And 1. 4, 5. Okay. 4, 5. 6, 7. 11. Maybe going for dominance in Europe would have been a better move. 11. 12. This turns into shit. 16. 19. 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, now I've lost count again. Too many things to count. I don't remember if I hit those. Let's try again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 11, 15, 16, 17. Now I don't remember if I counted this. God, I hate this. Let's try again. I hate games where I have to count so much. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 16, 19, 23, 27, 23, 29, 33, and now we add more, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 43 points. 69. Okay, well, yellow didn't do very well. Shit. I forgot about my coins. Let's see what else I could gain. I'm not going to undo what I did, but I got 3 more armies. And again, I don't want... Yeah, this sucks. Because I might not have done what I did. But... go for Japan. When you're big in Japan. It took all 3 pieces, but we got Honshu. That gives me an extra 2 points. I feel kind of like an idiot. Yeah, end of the sunrise. When you sleep all day, it's really hard to want to sleep at night. I'm on the Netherlands. Okay. He's got 1 card, Japan. If I'd known about that, I might not have swept in. It is available. There's a kind of crappy little photocopies of the map here that tell you where everything is. It's not very helpful to me. I don't operate well off of pictures. How many Japanese do I get? Probably 3. 5. Starting in Honshu with Sea of Japan and a capital. I'm worried I cheated here and didn't put a piece there and just attacked as though that was all the green, all the 7th realm era. I don't care. In terms of how I'm playing, look, if I was playing this opposed, maybe I would zone out, look at those, and kind of have some kind of clue. Most people I play with probably wouldn't. Now, at a tournament or something, everybody would walk in knowing everything, and you just, whoopsie. We had a problem. I owe a green point. I gave them 2 for this. They would have only gotten 1. These little things are helpful. But see, in the version I was used to, the map was bigger, I think, because it spread out more. And there was a big epic track. And I don't know if you had these. These are very helpful to see on the board. So they are an advantage if they were added. Again, it's been so long since I played the original. Anyway, let me get back to the Japanese and take care of them. Then I'm going to have the Dutch. All the Japanese pieces to take this 1 space. 4 of them. And now we show up in the Lower Rhine. Get rid of that. There. Fleets that I can't sell, and I wouldn't want to, in the Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Kind of weird, given that the Dutch, I think, took over the one Christian thing. I know the Portuguese were there temporarily, but I think the Dutch took it over in Japan. They can't reach it in this game. Yep. Some interesting things. I already dominate this, so I don't need to do anything there. It would, for the Netherlands to conquer all of Europe would be pretty silly anyway. So now I look at other interesting places. Appalachia gets me a quick 3 points. That's probably pretty good. Down here, I have a chance but it would be a naval invasion here unless I spend a couple of pieces to go in there. I can land in the Balkans and take that. That gives me 3. That ties with this, but I'd still have to take a green piece away. Maybe not the best, or an olive piece away. Maybe not the best thing. Down here I could dominate for a couple of points. That's basically a point a soldier, which is not a great deal. I can get 3 points for a soldier here. Here maybe not, because there are... Actually, I can go into the West Indies, because I think the U.S. shows up in Appalachia. There isn't a lot available to me, though. There's 2 points for here. And again, there's no... This is really weird. I'm not so sure about New Zealand. But New Guinea and Australia, of course, it's the outback. Okay. Maybe it wouldn't be easily accessible. I was going to say, they're really close. But at this point in the game, it's pretty hard to find places you can land on the coast. Sometimes there's freedom. Sometimes, you know, there's a plague or whatever. Actually did land in Appalachia so I could take the deep south. Don't want to go any further because I can't get more points. Australia. I could march into here, but it doesn't do me much. There really aren't a lot of places that get me much in terms of points. So I'm going to attack here. It's a boinker, and it has a monument in it, and it gets me China. I've got 2 pieces to go in there, but it's bad odds. First one fails. Second one fails. Time to count. Time to count. 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 22. Ooh, I've got a lot here. 23, 24, 25, 28, I'm remembering, 29, 30, didn't make it, 34, and now we go back. I get a doink. I had a double doinker, right? I took one in Australia, yeah. Now I can't remember. I think it was 35. I don't know. I gotta recount. I'll be back. 32, which is I don't think what I got, but whatever. 32, and now I'm starting here. Maybe I had started counting some of these. 32, 33, 34, 35. Okay. Now I'm there. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45 points. That's not bad. But it doesn't get me first place, and I'm almost certain not to win given the amount of tokens of these things that people have. France is this color. They have a reallocation. Now, for France, a reallocation is kind of expensive. But do I really need the North Atlantic? I can land here in the West Indies and grab that. South Atlantic I almost certainly want, but maybe I could trade the East Indian for it. Oh, yeah, actually some interesting options there. But I can certainly take one of them. But I kind of don't need... I don't think I need the Atlantic at all, which is really weird. I don't know I don't think I'm able to, yeah, because I won't be able to ship from France without the Atlantic. So I do need the Atlantic, and if I don't have the Indian, I won't be able to get to the Western Pacific. Eastern Pacific doesn't exist. I don't think anybody has it. Maybe the U.S. does. Doesn't really connect to anything except the Western Hemisphere. So I think I can get rid of, oops, no, it's still there from before. I think I can get rid of one, get one coin off of it. You might make an argument that I can't get that many points off the West Pacific. If I had the flexibility to choose to play that later, of course, it wouldn't be reasonable to be able to play it after you used the fleets. But that's kind of where I'm sitting with this. France itself ends up, I think, in Western Gaul, which also feels weird. Like Northern Gaul looks like it's going into Germany. Okay. Whereas, I don't know, maybe not. If this is actually the Rhine and this is Denmark, yeah, no, this is all Gaul. Fine, but I feel like I'm, like, Paris is more here than... This is weird, too, because their leader, they put Napoleon. Napoleon basically sweeps through Europe. I don't know how much of it you can really call conquered, but, you know, I mean, both Prussia and Austria were aligned with him, whatever. He almost beats Russia, right? Gets to Moscow, which is this. Of course, Russia is just these two spaces now. I think that's all that's left by the time Napoleon comes back. Again, it doesn't align with what it talks about, right? But for a France that's like exerting itself into North America or into the Indian Ocean or whatever, that's a France that's pre-Napoleonic. Or post. But during Napoleon's own era, you know, you have, Haiti revolts during the Revolutionary period. Louisiana gets sold. India, they've already been beaten in. I don't know if they had anything. I don't think they had anything in Africa yet. They did have something in the West Indies. Of course, that's multiple countries holding that. And I'm guessing they were already in Indochina. But I'm not positive about that. But again, it's like the game just doesn't represent anything that feels at all reasonable. It feels as goofy as Risk does to me. So, this is one of those games, if somebody ever asks you, is it like Risk? I would say, yeah, except more complicated. Kind of say the same about Axis and Allies in some ways, too. You know, with all the die rolling and everything, it kind of feels like Risk. You know? So, yeah, I don't need Southern Europe. I already dominate that. I have a presence here. So unless I can push for something deeper than a presence, oh, there's a little straight here. I didn't realize that. Unless I can press for something deeper than a presence, it's not really worth it. Here, I've already got dominance. Yes, I could fight my way through shit, but is that worth it for 2 points plus those? And taking points away from purple, who has not gone yet. Purple and blue are the two that I'm most worried about as any player. And I'm in pretty good shape compared to them, other than that I don't have any fucking discs. So I think one thing we want to do is we want to knock blue out of Europe. We probably want to try for dominance of Europe. That looks at least as easy as trying to squeeze into other areas. There really aren't a lot that we have options on. Africa, we can grab one in. Other than that, the rest of the world, the coastlines are pretty damn full. I'm going to take 2 coins, and I have Siegecraft. I took a coin out of the North Atlantic. I do not need that. And I took one out of the Western Pacific. Yes, you know, I'm already in China. The effort to try to take it over seems painful. Japan, that sucks. But, you know, anywhere where I can hit blue and purple, they're not over there. So, kind of makes sense for me not to. I keep forgetting I have Siegecraft, which is going to give me a +1. So more urban areas are actually kind of nice for me to hit. Blew through a blues here. The Holy Roman Emperor still is here. Fitting that Napoleon would kill it off. It's also down here though, so it's not dead. And it's over here. Again, like these things, what do they divide into? I don't know. Oh, painful sun, but interesting. But I lost both my coins and maybe another piece. I don't think so. Taking this. So we're pushing our way forward. That actually gets me dominance. And now comes the big question. Where do I move next? Well, North America is valuable. And I can dominate North America. Question is, do I hit the West Indies? Yeah, I need 3. I only need 2 to dominate. So, do I give him 2 dice or 3 dice? I don't have a +1 here. Interesting question. Oh, fuck. Because this isn't me. I don't want to go here unless I'm going to attack. I don't know. Instead of landing here for the advantage of crossing or whatever, slight advantage, only made sense if I made the attacks here, which I did. It was all expensive though. I'm down to 2 pieces left for France. Now, there's a couple of things I could do. There's an extra point. So this is worth 2 points to me to land in. So is this. Here I'd get a +1 to my die roll though, which is useful. I do reach the Bay of Bengal. I'm looking to knock out blues and purples as well as pad my own points. Who's left to go is one of the questions. Blue is left to go. Purple is left to go. And this. One of them is Britain. And I can only hope it's this. Although he can get a lot of points off that and I might actually lose position due to that. Which, I mean, just for my own points, do I have boinkers? There's one here. If I grab one there, I get a thing. So I'm going into South Africa. And that grabs me a boinker. And that means I only have one thing remaining. The most valuable space I can hit is here. Yellow is not who I'm trying to beat though. It's blue or purple. So I'm thinking, yeah, but I get the +1. You don't gain anything down here. See here, whatever I attack, I get 2 dice, or I get 2 points for. I'm just going to go for this. If I don't take it, somebody else might. And so that gives me 2 dice to 3, but I've got a +1 on my highest die, which is not sufficient. So I overthought it as always. And I'm going to swap battery. It's getting really bad, but I need to do the count here. Okay. Over here, dominance, 6. Control, 12. 13, 14, yeah. 18 for dominance. 26 for dominance. That gets me to here. I didn't make it here. 26 for dominance. That for dominance doesn't matter. 27 for presence. 30. 34. I'm not in here. 34. 37. So 37 is my base. Then I add 38, 39, 40, 41. Some nice stuff. 41, 42, 43, 44. Wouldn't have gone this way, but 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. This is a big number. 57, 58, 70, 87. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. And we are going to pause. I'm going to flip over the Brits, which are here, and I'll count their pieces out, but then I'm stopping. Pick out Era 7 pieces. There are no Era 3 or 4 pieces on the board for this power. So I'm just going to use, because there's no counter mix for them or anything, no limitation. So it's certainly not a problem there. I'm going to pull 16 3s and 4s. But similar to France, England could give up, say, the North Atlantic and or the Western Pacific Ocean with their reallocation. But their other 2 cards are too valuable. They have an Allies, which doesn't require them to give anything up, and an Elite Troops, which says they win all ties until they lose a battle. That's probably worth more than the North Atlantic. I could give up. The Western Pacific, yeah, I might want to hit that off. I don't know all where I'm going yet, but we start in Albion, replacing our own kingdom piece with this new one. And now we have to expand. Now, we're still facing the US and Germany, and those are the 2 previous high scorers. Madagascar right off. I just, let's just get the points for that. It's easy enough. But 2 points for 1 counter is pretty good. The problem I'm facing is everything is filled now. There are no empty spaces anymore along the coast, I think. There was somewhere France attacked, right? They cleared a space. I don't remember quite where that was. Looking. I thought we cleared one somewhere. But otherwise, we're going to have to beat our way into anywhere. Now, this is easier than doing a naval invasion. England would really like the naval support, whatever. You get to reduce it down to a 2-point penalty instead of a 3, or a 3-die penalty. This is empty. Well, my boats don't get there. And this is actually a problem, and you would think, well, maybe the Allies aren't such a good buy, or such a good card. They still are. I'm likely to tie somewhere, lose an army, and land. And I'm likely to do that more than once. Not likely to tie and lose an army because of the elite troops, but I can lose an army without tying. And then I have to tie and lose an army to clear a space. Start off with what would be absolutely impossible. You know, I mean, they just go in and invade France and take it out. Sure, during the 100 Years' War, maybe. But when you're talking about this era, you're really talking about the 19th century here and onward. This Queen Victoria is the leader here. Of course, Britain built their power, as did France, over a much larger period of time. So it's, you know, kind of bogus, as with everything in this game. We pick up my first loss, trying to go in here against purple, take away some of their bonus points that they've got built up. 5 units trying to take this space, but we took it on we win on a tie. So in we go. And hey, it's a boinker doinker. I have a pair of them. Grab a monument, just to remind me. A couple more pieces killing off, not the last purple piece. There's still one here, which, I don't know, is worth points. I don't know how bad I want to hunt it. And one here that I can't even really reach unless I do a massive invasion of, which I might do, of the Americas. That might be worth doing simply because dominance there is worth something. That dominance wiped out that purple piece. They may be able to regain it. They may be the Americans. I kind of wasted a piece going up there for that. And at this point, I have 2 pieces left. I really ought to be improving my points as well as I can. I have this. That's not worth anything. I'm just looking, what can I bump off? I can take the Western Deccan for free, but then I wouldn't be able to get dominance here. This is to take a crack at this. I do not get it. If I had gotten that, then I could have tried this. Now I've got 1 piece left. I don't believe fortifying is particularly worthwhile for me at this stage in the game. Honshu is of interest. This, it would be worth something to knock out his city, but I think Honshu is too valuable. So this is my last roll. Well, 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 we just opened it up for someone. I don't know who can get up there. Let's see. United States hits the West Pacific, so they would get a shot at it and just be able to take that for free, basically. Now we have a Doinker monument, and we're all filled there. I think the only place we can put it is here. We didn't manage to take a lot of cities, like any. And now, I mean, we could have punched our way in here, be worth as much, but we couldn't get the, strangely enough, we did not have the Eastern Pacific. Tell Captain Cook about that. All right. So this is a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, 27. I didn't go in here either. 27. That sounds like that's that. And we don't have a lot of points kicking around. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 35, 36. Looks like we only made 36 points, which isn't going to do us shit. That puts us to 59. Well, we weren't really expecting to win. And now we come to the interesting things. US is before Germany. A leader and expert troop straits. Our navies are kind of interesting. Eastern and Western Pacific and the Caribbean. And we start in Appalachia. Oops. There's a way to get points. Just drop a piece on the board. Kind of interesting. Obviously, the United States, at some point in this game, because it's going to go up to Imperial Germany. Who do they give? Wilhelm II. Not exactly all that effective a leader. When they go to, it is maybe the history of the world to World War I, but by World War I, the United States could have certainly exerted power into Europe if it so desired. Maybe not so much before that, though. So, if you're looking at like the fact that the game absolutely doesn't pay attention to historical limits on power for anyone else, and then they're like, people would notice if the U.S. invaded Europe or something and conquered it. Yeah, well, what are the limits there, really? Those limits were softer limits. Like, we could have conquered Spain in the Spanish-American War, I guess. Manpower-wise, we completely outmatched them, and we had destroyed their navy. France, probably not England, but again, there's just, the actual limits on power aren't reflected in the game at all. But here, there is an attempt. Let's not give them even the North Atlantic, which would get them the North Sea. Let's not get them the Atlantic Ocean. When we invaded Tripoli, back in 1800 or so, the U.S. manages to expand into the U.S. territory. That all made actual sense. It gets us dominance there. That's fine. Over here, we grabbed the freebie here. We attacked here, naval landing in China, and then a naval landing here in India to get some elephants. And we will get our doinker there and our score. So 6, it's not going to be good. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This has lasted a while. 20, 21, 22, only 23 points, which really sucks. That puts us to there. And I forgot about my expert troop straits. I might have done this. I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't want to make the risk on it. That actually would have made sense. I don't know. I fucked up because I would have needed more troops to do it, because I could get into here, then I could slam into Central America. I would have used an extra piece, but I might have lost less than these naval invasions and done some interesting stuff. That puts us to blue. Blue has a piece on the board, but they also have Termini with 10. And naval power and weaponry. Weaponry is a +1 to each die roll, which is better than winning ties, isn't it? I don't know. Really not sure. Seems like it's the same. Like, winning ties is like plus 0.5. So this is a little better. I can get ties out of things that I would have just lost, I guess, which, okay. My capital's up here. Naval power, I do have the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean that I can inject myself into, but I feel like I've got goals in Europe and Russia first, I think. Got the naval power. I suffer the same penalty going up into this as I do crossing into here, and I gotta wipe out some of that. So let's invade Britain. A lot of hits trying to get this boinker here, a couple of them. I mean, really not a good situation at all. I'm really not sure about Russia here. It's just, it's easy to get to, but my naval invasions aren't bad, actually. They're so an invasion in India might be of interest, stuff like that. I gotta swap battery. Captured the northeast of North America, of America, whatever. You got Newfoundland and stuff in there too. We finally got this. The next roll was a success. That gets us a boinker, and I got like 2 more places. India is definitely a worthwhile invasion spot. The next one's a lot harder to see. I think it's North America, because there's all kinds of people here. The question is, how many points am I gathering? And this is where the game used to go to anyway, but I feel like I have to calculate it out to see just where I'm going to land on here, because this is worth 3 points, but this, which I can reach, is worth 4, you know? So if I need that 4 to boost myself above green, I should do it. If I just take this, it's going to put me about here. And then I have 1 more piece to take, to play, which could put me up to like 64. I am worried I need to take higher risk attempts. So we're going to go in here. It's only 2 dice on defense because of the naval power. Weaponry gives me a +1. And we win. And that gives me... Fuck, no. That doesn't give me dominance. I screwed up. I wouldn't do this then. We'd have killed this. Which does give me dominance. Okay, now I have 1 more piece, and it's time to hit India. It kind of doesn't matter where. Oh yeah, there's a doinker there. I can't get to China. It's the best points I can get. Nobody else has any points. Could hit this, but it's not worth more. I don't know, is there like a capital with a thing now? And we win here. And now we count, and it's going to be really close to that 61. 6 here for dominance. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 points, 50, 65 puts me up to there. Yeah, so getting that India was worth an extra 4 points, which makes absolute sense. 3 + 1. Okay. Oh, I get 1 more point. This was Germany. Forgot about that. But that means that I can't get the disc, and instead green gets the disc. And now we get to see. How do we want to do this? What is dramatic? Purple's behind. That's a big 6. They're still behind. 3. They're not going to make it. And 4. They got so wiped out off the board. Well, blue has 4. And 4. That's pretty good. These are higher than I thought they were. And green has 3. And it's a 1-point game. I'm going to say this much about it. I can't really talk too much about individual strategies and what worked, what didn't, whatever. There's sort of just rules of thumb in this game that you play. And it's, I play it very opportunistically, like I play a lot of games, and follow certain rules of thumb in it that I feel are wise. So things like, it's never worth getting control. Okay, sure, there are times when maybe it is, especially with a place like Japan. But usually it's not worth it. Sometimes wiping someone out is important if they're way in the lead. But we saw green damn near caught the 2 leaders that he was way behind before. Blue was relatively far behind purple, I believe, at one point. It's a game where the amount of damage you can do to somebody is so severe that, like, I don't know that it's worth getting control of an area just to deny, someone else some points for it, unless you're in the position where you want to wipe them out entirely off the board so they get nothing point-wise, when it comes around to their turn. And usually we haven't seen the need to do that. So generally it's, okay, where can I get the most points, and what are my odds and whatever, factoring in the value of all the different, special ability cards you have. Somebody brought up the special ability cards would be too much of a pain to play solo. I didn't find them so. I found it a lot easier than, say, playing most CDGs solo, especially the ones where you have a big hand of cards. I'm thinking here, things like the Clash of Monarchs, Clash of Sovereigns, where you have a large hand of cards and a lot of actions to do, and you have to plan it all out and figure everything out. I don't feel like you have to figure all that much out in this. It can all be done, again, pretty opportunistically. The painful part is counting how many points he got. That's always painful. These didn't turn out to be too bad. I got really confused by them early in the game, and then it was okay. There's a huge factor of randomness as to your starting hand of cards. That wasn't so much the case in the original Avalon Hill version. Let's call this the Hasbro version. In the Avalon Hill version, there wasn't this much randomness because there were like 10 different decks, and you got 1 card off each deck, and you'd get a minor empire, a kingdom, a this, a that, so you didn't end up with, like, potentially someone could have 3 of those damn horrible cards, the greater events that are just crap. I don't remember what they're called. Reallocations. They're really shitty. They were shitty cards in the Avalon Hill version, and but at least there they came from a pile of cards. Now I don't know what they came with. Probably things like coinage or something. So it was kind of a worse version of coinage And for whatever reason, they threw this in. And now there's an optional rule where, and this I think was in the original, but I'm not sure, where you could put armies at sea and collect victory points for your armies at sea unless they got attacked. It just feels weird to me. Doesn't feel like the game, and I don't know what it means. It's not like you're preventing other people from placing their ships. Like, they don't have to fight to get your access to sea. So I didn't play with it. I could see that other side being interesting. So what is it? Active empires with navigation can place armies. At the end of the turn, any fleets with armies on them remain on the board. You score a victory point for each sea controlled that way. Oh no, you do have to fight them. Okay, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. Yeah, that's kind of interesting to be able to block like the late game, or at least cost the late game empires that can like put pieces anywhere from something. I'm tempted to play that if I get to this ever again. As a comfort game, it doesn't match Britannia and whatever. But yeah, there's a fair amount of randomness in the hand of cards you're dealt. And there's a fair amount of randomness, although less. You have a lot of control as a lower scoring player over what empire you're going to get and your timing on that. The big strategy there is like, the rule of thumb is, if it's a good card for you, just fucking take it. If it's not a great card for you, maybe give it away, but pay a really close attention to when the person is going to go and what their board presence is and how many points they're going to get off of it. Because if they go late in one turn and get a lot of points and still have those huge armies on the board, they can win. They can get basically a double scoring of that huge bonus. And that's kind of what happened to green. I didn't realize how close in range they were or whatever. I don't know. And now I don't know who they were. They were the Manchu. Over here. So we're looking at Babylon, Assyria, Sung Nu, Arabs, Sung, Portugal, Manchu. I mean, they got one good card, the Arabs. One very powerful card. Not huge, but very powerful. And otherwise, pretty middling. Sung Nu is not at all good. Babylonia is okay only because they start the game early. But the Manchu went early. And they had a lot of presence because of Portugal, who's able to do the sea moves earlier than everyone else, Portugal and Spain. So yeah, it's not a bad draw of things, but look at something like this. The Romans and the Ottomans and all, he only got one minor empire. He got a minor empire and a couple of these sort of bonus point things. Yes, he got boned by the Khmer. That was red. It's doing okay. Whoa, what's this? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. These guys weren't in the game. I was flipping all those things. This guy just ran away with it. Who the fuck is that? I don't know. He's got the Spaniards. No. Wait. Yeah, he's got the Spaniards. Here's the guy who won it. That's up here, France. Okay. So he really jumped ahead of everyone. Like the other green did pretty well. Let's look at what his were. A lot of these cards. No minor empires, but a lot of these little kingdoms and stuff that spread stuff around. Egypt, Carthage, Celts, that's a bunch of shit. He was behind all along. Huns, pretty decent. The Huns are the little axemen. I don't think I have any left. They got wiped out. Franks. We do have Franks left, but the biggie there was Spain. Spain, and this is the same thing that we were seeing with Portugal and the Manchu. Portugal went late, the Manchu went early. France doesn't go all that early either, though. So, I don't know. Mainly, nobody was hunting his pieces, I guess. He doesn't have much left on the board. Got this big pile here. Got this. Had power here, yeah. Yeah. Well, that was kind of a shock. His piece is almost invisible. I didn't even see it there. I thought all the fight was between, hey, could anybody beat out what blue and purple could get? Yeah, well, somebody just blew them all out of the water. Yeah, and there's this huge capability for swings and whatnot. So, all right. I don't know what else to say at this point. We'll come back with the review part.